So Shopify and Squarespace are two absolutely dominant players in the website building space, but that doesn't mean they're both great options for you. In fact, they're both very, very different platforms, and they're very good at very different things, but it's not especially obvious for most people which one you should be getting. So in this video, we're going to compare the two head to head, dive into the features, the interface, the setup, the pricing, everything else you might need to know, as well as how well they both rank on Google to help you decide which one's actually the best choice for you, whether you're a local shop, a fundraiser, a personal brand with some merch, a drop shipper, or just looking to experiment with a new online business. Whatever your reason is for choosing one of these, this video is going to help you choose which one is actually the best for you. So let's start off with the background of both of these. They've both been in the game for a pretty long time. Squarespace being the older one, coming out in 2003, which is 21 years ago, and Shopify coming out just 3 years after that, so it's still 18 years old. They've been in the industry for a pretty long time, but what they focused on in the beginning and what they focus on now, even though they definitely merged a lot and have a lot more overlap, that really shows what their fundamental values are, and it's really going to foreshadow a lot in this video. So Squarespace started off just as a regular website builder, building generic websites for people, and then eventually moved into e-commerce. And now they work as a jack of all trades. Like if somebody asks me, hey Mike, I want to make a website, what should I use? I'm going to ask them, have you tried Squarespace? Because it just works well for whatever you're trying to do. Of course, you can sell on there, you can make a blog on there, you can even host a podcast like an RSS feed on there. You can do all types of different things, scheduling appointments, like local stuff, all types of things in Squarespace. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but really it's meant to be a jack of all trades, but that may mean it is a master of none. So Shopify, on the other hand, it's not necessarily a jack of all trades. Like you can use it now for anything, but it's really hyper focused on one thing in particular, and the name kind of gives it away. It's shopping. Shopping's what it's meant for. Shopify is the biggest e-commerce platform for websites to be built and sell their own products on the entire internet. It's something that is so ubiquitous out there that all the big sellers are using it. But again, that doesn't mean it's the best one for you. Like if you're not trying to be the next, I think like Skims, like is that Skins? Whatever Kim Kardashian's brand is, that's on Shopify. If you're not trying to be like that, then maybe you don't need Shopify. And if you're watching this video, you're probably somewhere in the middle on this spectrum. So for example, some people may want a podcast and a blog and a nice custom website, but maybe they also want to sell some things. So where's the threshold of where it's no longer worth it to use Squarespace and becomes worth it to use Shopify? So let's kind of take a different approach here. Let's talk about the design aspect of these. When you're making your website, the first thing they both prompt you to do is choose a template, choose a theme. So Squarespace is really the king of website design, in my opinion. Between the two of these, it really comes across very clean, very professional, and it's very easy to make. But Shopify is also quite simple as well. Shopify has 12 free themes that you can choose from. I'm going to interchange themes and templates. These two platforms have different names, but in essence, it's going to be a pre-made website that you just populate with your own photos, your own colors, your own text, but you get a really nice head start there. So Shopify has 12 free and 171 paid themes. The paid ones are about $300 each, so definitely a little steep, but if you can afford it, they do look really nice. The free ones look good, and I usually use the free ones though. Squarespace, on the other hand, has 168 themes, and these are all free. Like you don't have to pay for any of them. And 60 of them are specifically focused on e-commerce. Of course, all of the Shopify ones are focused on e-commerce. So when you're looking at e-commerce themes, you still have even more options for free when you're using Squarespace. And in addition, Squarespace allows you to build with their Squarespace blueprint. So you kind of build like a custom theme if you wanted to do that. When you're actually editing these, this is really interesting. So Squarespace used to be almost exactly like Shopify is today, where it was really pre-structured and you could add things into certain blocks, certain locations. You just click the little plus button, you're able to add in like a photo, or you're able to add in like a little section of something. And so with that layout, which currently only Shopify uses out of these two, that is really robust. Like it's very easy to make. You choose the layout that you want, you're able to populate that, and no matter what platform people are using, whether it is on a phone, on a TV, on a laptop, on a really big monitor, whatever it is, it's always going to show up looking really good. Whereas Squarespace now kind of changed their layout, so it's definitely still responsive, it still works on everything, but now you can click and drag elements wherever you want on the screen. The benefit here is that, of course, you can make it as customized as you want. You can move things absolutely anywhere. The downside, however, is that you will want to be double checking pretty frequently how it looks on a mobile device, on a tablet, on a laptop, to make sure that your website actually looks good in all of those different display aspect ratios. Okay, so taking a look at the pricing of both these platforms, Squarespace technically does have a cheaper option starting off at $16 per month. And keep in mind, for both of these, it's showing the annualized price. So if you pay monthly, it's like $10 per month more or something like that. But anyway, looking at the annual plans, $16 per month for personal, but that doesn't give you any e-commerce abilities on here. If you wanted to get into e-commerce, you have to go down to the commerce plan, and as you can see here, $27 versus $29 per month is a pretty small gap there, especially when we start digging into some of the other features on here. As we go down, you'll see there is also a commerce advanced option with Squarespace, where Shopify kind of jumps up quite a bit. I think there it is, Shopify, that's their more advanced one, $80 per month, which does give you quite a bit of advantages, and of course advanced, which is a really high price. So Shopify definitely scales way more to the high end, which makes sense once I talk about the features. One of the big things you'll notice though is going to be the credit card rate. So right here, don't be fooled by the 0% transaction fee. That is not like, it's going to depend on where you're accepting payments, but what Shopify does that's really cool is that the credit card rates actually start off at 2.9%, which is pretty standard. And as you go with the more expensive plans, it goes down to 2.5%. So you save a significant amount of money when you're doing really high volumes with Shopify, when you are actually, like I said, once you start doing higher volumes, if you upgrade your plans accordingly. And if you just Google Squarespace transaction fees, you can always find out what the latest rate is on this, 2.9% plus 30 cents. So it is going to be the exact same for the basic plan. But like I said, the upside is that if you start off with Shopify, as you scale, you can cut that rate, like I said, a lot more down to 2.5%. Even though there's a higher monthly cost, there will be a point in sales volume where that becomes worth it. And so a lot of people end up doing that. And by the way, whichever one you end up choosing, we do have links in the description below to both of them. They're affiliate links. So if you appreciate this free information and you want to support the channel, it costs you absolutely nothing to go through our links, it costs no extra money for you. And whenever you sign up, we will get a small commission that helps make this content free for everybody. Continuing on, the ease of use with both of these. Squarespace, honestly, like I talked about with the builder earlier, is a little bit easier. There's more native tools built into it, so you don't have to shop around for other tools and integrations. Shopify, on the other hand, has more integrations available, I would say, but they're not all integrated by default. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you're willing to put in the work and find things that are really made for Shopify and really give you extra functionality, then it might be easier, for example, to automate your emails and your email newsletter and things like that. So that could be done really, really well with some really advanced features on Shopify using things like Omnisend or Klaviyo and a lot of other platforms out there. And many of those also work with Squarespace too, but Squarespace kind of encourages their own native, their built-in one, which again makes it easier for things like scheduling, for email marketing, for things like that. So in this category, I have to say the winner, like, it's kind of a tie, I would say, in this category. They both do a good job, but it's just a toss-up. They're easy enough to learn, and I'm really happy with both of them. Now, the features and the applications. I kind of touched on this a little bit in the last category. Shopify has over, like, I think 2,500 apps. It's really hard to find the exact number. A lot of them are kind of paid or freemium, at least, where you can kind of get some functionality out of it by default, but you then pay to get substantially more. Like I said, Squarespace has fewer apps or integrations out there, but includes all of the essential ones with your plan when you actually get Squarespace. They do have some upsells, but again, they're all within the Squarespace ecosystem. They're made by Squarespace, so they're very native and they're really easy to manage that. In addition, if you buy a domain directly through either Shopify or Squarespace, sure, you could go through Namecheap and import it. I always just go like natively. It's just easier for people to set that up. Squarespace tends to be a little bit more expensive for their domains. An advantage of Shopify is that it is more scalable for product libraries. Squarespace, I think, has better blogging capabilities. So if you're really trying to rank on Google through the blog route and show up a lot like that in search, then that could be the better option there. But that's not to say you can't show up in search with Shopify. In fact, a lot of people do quite often, either when searched for their products or searching for specific blogs that they write. But Shopify has the advantage, I would say, of being better for paid integrations, paid promotions. So they've got a lot of integrations with like TikTok Shop, Facebook, Instagram. You can sell natively on those different platforms and very easily run ads with them. You can run ads with stuff that's on Squarespace, but Shopify just takes it to a whole nother level, in my opinion. They both have great support, so if you need assistance with anything, you're getting like 24/7 with Shopify, which is really great. And as far as the payments that are accepted on them, they both accept basically every payment style out there. So there's like Stripe, PayPal, Square. You can accept, of course, Visa, MasterCard, JCB, Apple Pay, Amex, like anything that people would want to pay with, anything like that I could even think of, they both accept it. So that's not going to be a limitation pretty much for anybody. I would say Shopify tends to have more powerful e-commerce features for sure. So there'll be like some deeper analytics into your e-commerce and stuff like that. And it's easier to sell across multiple channels, not just, like I said, advertising on Instagram and Facebook, but also selling natively on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. Those are all very easy apps that you just just add to Shopify in a couple clicks. It's all set up. It's ready to go. And there are a lot of other apps out there that are specifically catered to print on demand or drop shipping or something like that. And those focus so much more effort on working with Shopify because they know it's such a big network of people using Shopify specifically for those features. So it's going to be a better ecosystem in that sense. Now, some other commerce features you might want to be aware of, they both let you define shipping zones, they both factor in weight, they both factor in value and more stuff like that. They do both offer label printing if you're doing your own fulfillment. But in general, for the commerce section of this video, which was kind of the past couple minutes, I would say Shopify is the winner. So kind of concluding here, of course, for anyone who is on like a larger retailer or seller of your own stuff, Shopify is going to be better for big and serious sellers. Anyone looking to get into print on demand or drop shipping, definitely go with Shopify. There's more apps, more scalability, and even like drop shipping oriented software that really goes well with Shopify. It powers countless stores across the internet and is really a good default. But Squarespace, on the other hand, is better for anyone looking to have a more well-rounded website. Anyone looking to maybe sell a small library of products. Maybe you want to build a blog, a podcast, have a lot of really nice looking pages, or just a clean website in general. Squarespace is a really great option. So if you kind of view this as a spectrum, going back to that question of where does it become better to use Shopify, it's kind of obvious that Squarespace is good for small stores, Shopify is good for really big stores, but you can start a really small store on Shopify. It really just comes down to how much customization do you really want in a small store, and how big do you plan on scaling your store. If you want to have just like one or two products, really casual, but you care a lot about the other aspects of your website, go with Squarespace. If you want a small store, but you don't care about customizing the site, then go with Shopify. But whichever one you end up choosing, again, full free training down below, so don't be intimidated. They're not hard to get started with. I'll have those links in the description so you guys can go check out those full-length videos next. And once you're going, I would love to see a little bit more about your stores. Definitely leave a comment below with the link to your store so I could check it out and see what it actually looks like. So if you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien from Santrel Media. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in those tutorials.